All right, welcome back. So in the last video, we handled routing using React Router in our app. And in this one, we're gonna wanna add a login and sign up. So kind of some basic authentication. So let's take a look at our mutation here. And this is our mutation type here. And this is our sign up mutation right here. So let's come down and take a look at what we're doing. So we're gonna pass in a name, an email, and a password, which is gonna be hashed here. This is what we're getting. We're going to get back the token, which is going to be signed using JWT and our app secret and also our user. And then what we do with this token is up to us. So I thought of a few different ways we might want to do this. So in the past, I've used cookies and stuff, but I haven't done much local storage for this. So I thought, let's go ahead and try that out. So that's what we're going to be doing for this. So let's get right into the actual coding here. So let's come back over to our app here. And we are actually going to need to handle our client, our Apollo client, a little bit differently in order to make sure we are getting the token. So let's go ahead and change a few things up. So we're going to need to add one package here. So come down, I have my servers running here, but we are gonna go and cd into our web right here. And then we're gonna go yarn add, and we're gonna add a package, and that package is called Apollo link context. Okay, and you're gonna see why we're gonna need this, but it's going to be used to kind of create the context that we're gonna use to get that token and pass it along for each request. So otherwise, we're going to be getting a CORS error and stuff if we continue with this here. So let's just go ahead. That looks like it's done. So let's go ahead and get rid of this right here. Then we can come down and let's kind of start over again. So the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to bring that in. So let's come here and we're going to go import, and that's going to be called set context there, and that's going to be from this package here, and it is going to be called Apollo link context there. Great. And then we are going to want to do a few things right here. All right, so the first thing we want to do here is come and go const, and we're going to go HTTP link, and this is going to be to our URL, so it's going to go equal new HTTP link. And that's going to be auto imported. So that's coming from our Apollo client right there, which is good. And then we're going to come in here and we're going to create an object here. And we're going to have a URI. Okay. And that's just going to be our HTTP // local host 4000. So that's our previous URL that we are using. All right, so once we have that, we're going to come down here and we're going to create our auth link. All right, so let's go const auth link, and that's going to be equal to set context there. And then we're going to have an async function, and that is going to have a request. And then we're going to pass in the headers here because we want to pass along that token into our headers with every single request in order to determine if we're authenticated, if we're not authenticated, that sort of thing. And then we're just going to go const token. And this is where we're going to get from our local storage, right? All right, so let's go const token there. And that's going to be equal to local storage dot get item. And we're going to pass in, we're just going to call it token. In our local storage, we're going to store it as token here. Okay, so that's good. And then come down below here and we're going to go return. And again, we want to return, and we're going to spread in here our headers. And then we're going to go headers and open this up. And then here we're going to go authorization. And then we're going to go token. And if there's a token, we're going to go some backticks, and we're going to go bearer. And then some curly braces, pass in token here. And then if there's not, we're just going to set it to null there. Okay, so let's save that. It'll reformat a bit. Okay, I think that's looking okay. Let's get rid of this down here. All right, so that's looking good. Now below this, we also need to create our actual client still. So let's go const and we'll go link. And that is going to be equal to the auth link that we created up there. And then we're going to concat onto there. We're going to the HTTP link. Okay. And then we're going to go const client. And finally here, lowercase client. And finally here, we're going to actually create our client. So new Apollo client. Okay. And then open up our object here. And we're going to go link here. And we're going to pass in. Actually, we don't need to pass in anything there. And we're going to have a cache. And then again, we're just going to pass in like what we had before, our in memory cache there, and call that. All right, so we got a little error here. Oh, it must have erased. Make sure we auto import that. Now we're getting a couple errors here. So these are looking like TypeScript errors. So I'm not too sure how well that's being typed, but let's just cast that as any for now. That should take care of that, and we'll just go link. We'll go link as any. Okay, that should take care of those errors. Okay, so obviously a little more complex than we had before, but this is going to be necessary in order to set our headers, which we need to do in order to tell if we're authenticated or not. So that's going to be necessary, but yeah, that's about it. So let's get out of here for now. And then we're going to come in. Let's actually create our, we'll go our sign up first. But first, actually, let's go in here and let's create a new folder. And we're going to structure this as pages. Okay, and then inside of the pages where we're going to want to actually do our sign up component.tsx. So to start off, give us some structure. Let's come into our components and let's just copy over our users component that we have, and we'll just adjust accordingly because there will be a few things similar that we need. So we're going to come over here and let's get rid of this and let's go use mutation. That's what we're going to need for that. Then come down here and we're going to use a form called a form component library called Formik. And if we come over to here, you'll see this is a library that we're going to use. It's just going to handle some validation for us, stuff like that. So yeah, I think that will be useful, and that's what we're going to do because it's my video. All right, so let's come down here, open up our terminal again, and let's go yarn install Formik, and then we also want a library called yup, which is going to be helpful for our form validation. So let's run those two, not yarn install, yarn add. All right, that is good. And I think what we actually might need to is the types for yup. Formik's written in TypeScript, so that'll be fine, but yup I don't think is. So yarn add -d at types /yup should do it. All right, so that is good. Let's get that out of here. And now we can actually start with our form. So come below here, give us a little room and import some stuff here. So we're going to import first a bunch of stuff from Formik. So we're going to go error message. We're going to go field. We're going to go form. And we are going to go Formik. Okay, and all that's going to be from Formik. Good. And then below that, we are going to also bring in, we'll just bring it in now, but actually, yup. So import, we'll go everything as yup, and that's going to be from yup. Okay. And the last thing we want to do is we're going to want to redirect after we log in. So we can do that by going import, and we can import use history. And this is just from React Router DOM. And that is, yeah, like I said, from React Router DOM right there. All right, so now this is being used right now. So now we've done queries like this before, but we are going to change this to a mutation. So let's just get rid of all this right now. We don't need any of this. Get it out of there. We're going to change this here to sign up. And I actually like to add this stuff at the bottom here. So let's go export default sign up. I don't know. It's just a style choice there, but whatever you choose. All right, so we have our sign up here. Now let's go ahead and actually create our mutation. So we're going to go const and we'll go sign up sign up underscore mutation. And that's going to be equal to GQL. And then we do our backticks here, and we're going to go mutation. And that's going to be called sign up, as you can see in our mutations that we had before. And then we're going to pass in the values. So $names are our first one, and that's going to be string. And that is also going to be maybe, I don't think it's required in our backend, but we'll see. Anyways, then email, and that's going to be a string, and that's going to be required. And then we're going to have a password, and that's going to be also a string, and that is also going to be required. All right, come down here, we'll call sign up here, and then we're going to get the name, and that's going to be the name. We're going to get the email, and that's going to be the email, and we are going to get the password, and that's going to be the password. So that stuff's going to get pretty repetitive, I think, so you get used to it, but this is going to be the structure for basically any mutation that we want to do going forward. All right, come in here, open this up, and what do we want to get back? Well, all we want to get back is this token, which then we're going to take here and we're going to set into our local storage. Okay, so that's basically all that is. Make sure we close off our backticks there, and that is what we have. So how are we going to do this? Well, let's come and get a little bit of structure here. All right, so let's come in here and actually get rid of all this here. Okay, so that's good. So the first thing, let's just give us a little bit of a title here. So we got an H1, and we're just going to call that sign up. Okay, then below that, we're going to go Formik here. And in this, we're going to have a bunch of different values. So come down here, and the first thing we want to pass in is an initial values. Okay, and that's going to be equal to initial values, which we're going to create above. So don't worry about that yet. And then we're also going to want a validation schema. So we can validate whether the input we're assigning is actually correct or not. So validation schema. Okay, and that is going to be equal to, again, same thing, validation schema here. And then give ourselves a little room here, and we're going to want to come in and we're going to have an on submit here. So on submit, and then this is going to be equal to an async function here. And then we're going to pass in the values. That's the values of these forms here. And we're going to have a set submitting. Okay. And come over here and do an arrow function. And open up some brackets here. And in our on submit here, we're going to start by setting submitting. So set submitting. And we're going to set that to true. And then we're going to go const, and we're going to have a response. Okay, and that's going to be equal to await. And we're going to call sign up. And in this sign up, we're going to pass our variables from our actual form. And that's just going to be the values. So the sign up is what we're actually calling. This is our mutation, and we're passing in the values that we're getting from this Formik form here. Okay, so once that's going to be done, we're going to come down here and we'll go local storage dot set item, and this is where we're going to actually set our item. So we say we're gonna call it token here, and then we're gonna get the response dot token, or dot data rather, dot sign up dot token. Okay. So you can see this is what we're setting into our local storage. We're going to save it under the name token, and we're going to get the response that we get from this mutation, which will, as we saw in our mutation, which will be the actual token. Okay, so that's great. Then below here, we want to go set submitting. Okay, and we'll set that back to false. And then finally, once that's all done, we want to go history dot push here. And we want to push to, what should we go? Well, they're going to be logged in at this point. So we'll do a protected route at that user's route we have. So let's go /users. Okay, so that is all good and well. And then we want to make sure we close off here, our form here. So in here, come down here, and we want to bring in some of these things. So we're going to go form. Okay, we're going to have a field. Okay, and that can be self-closing. And then in this field, we're going to have a name, and that's going to be email. Okay, and then we're going to have a type, and that's going to be equal to text. Okay, and then we are going to have a placeholder. Okay, and that's going to be equal to email. All right, so that's good for the first one. So that's how the fields are going to work. You're just going to give it a name and a type, a placeholder, and then Formik's going to handle all the rest. So then we're also going to have an error message, okay? And that's going to be in here. And in this error message, this is going to be if everything goes wrong or if the validation fails or whatever. So let's go email. Okay, that's good for that. And then you're going to pass it a component here. And for us, we're just going to go, we're just going to add a div component, but you could add some sort of custom component if you had some error message handling there. So let's go here and let's just copy this down a couple times, and we can just change these values around. So here we have email, but our next thing is what? We'll go name, and we can just pass this name. Okay, and then same for this, and yeah, that's it. All right, so here we're gonna have password here. So let's come over here, change these over to password here. And also we want this one to be password as well. Okay, and then we actually have to do this another time because we have a confirm password. Don't want to forget about that. So let's come down here and let's go confirm password. So it's going to be to make sure our passwords are the same, or we know the password. And then here, again, let's go confirm password. All right, so I think that is all we need for this. So let's go ahead and save that. Okay, and the last thing we want to add into our component here is we want to come over and let's add a button. So we're just going to have a regular button right now, no styling or anything. We're going to have a type, and that's going to be equal to submit. And that is going to be it for that. Close that off, and let's go sign up and add that to there. Go ahead and save that. Okay, so that's kind of the format our form is going to look like. Let's go ahead and add this to our app and see if it's even coming up or whatever. So let's come in here and come down here to our routes, and let's just come in and we'll just copy this up here, and we'll change this to sign up, and we'll pass in our actual sign up, auto import that. Okay, now hopefully that works. So come over to our app, let's go to /sign up, and we got something broken here, and we haven't brought in use history or anything yet, so let's go ahead and do that. And I guess at the same time we might as well finish off our sign up, all the things we're going to need. So let's come in here and first we can just bring in use history like this. So let's go history is equal to use history. Okay, so that will handle that error. And let's come in and create our actual mutation here. So instead of use query, we're going to go use mutation. And then instead of users query here, we're just going to go sign mutation, which we have right here. Okay, and we created above. And instead of all this stuff, we're just going to come in here. Let's get rid of this here and open up some square brackets, not some curly brackets, and then go sign up, which is our mutation that we're calling. And then we want to return the data from that we're going to get back in the form of a token. And then we don't need any of this either. So get rid of that. Now, we haven't done this initial values or this validate schema yet. So I say we might as well go ahead and do that. I don't know why that's giving us an error. I guess we got to bring it in again. Okay, auto import that. Okay, so let's come down here. All right, so let's come here and go const initial values. Okay, so let's come, we got email, and that's gonna be empty string, and then we're gonna have a password. We have a password, and then we're gonna have a password, and that's gonna be an empty string, and then we're gonna have a confirm password, and that again is gonna be an empty string, and then we're just gonna have the name here, and again, empty string. Now, what we wanna do here is actually create an interface for all this. So let's come up here, because we wanna do some typing here. We haven't really done much of that. So let's go interface, and we're gonna call it sign up values. And then here, we're gonna have email, and that's just gonna be a string. We're gonna have a password, and that's gonna also be a string. And then we're gonna have confirm, and that's gonna be a string. You're getting the point here. Everything's gonna be a string. Strings for everyone. And that's gonna name, and that's gonna be a string. Okay, and then if we come down here to our initial values, we just wanna pass that in as our types, sign up values right there. Okay, so now that's nicely typed there. And the last thing we wanna do, I think, in this file here is we wanna use yup to do some validation. So come down here, and let's go const validation schema. Okay, and that's gonna be equal to yup. And then we're gonna say dot object. Okay, and then open up our object here. And these are all the things we're gonna wanna pass in. So let's go email, and that's gonna be yup dot, ooh, that's not it. That's gonna be yup dot string. And then it's gonna say dot email, and it's gonna say invalid email address. So this is gonna be what we're gonna return if the email is not valid. And then you can just kind of chain on different things. So there's also a dot required, okay, and that's gonna be here, and that's gonna say email. We'll just say email required. Okay, so the two things, it's gonna have to be a valid email, which yup will address for us, and it also has to be required. So that's how you do that. Looks like we're not bringing in yup here. Let's see. See if we can auto bring that in. Nope. Let's come back up here and bring in yup. So let's go import. We'll just go, I think it was everything as yup from yup. See if that handles it for us. I think it does. So validation schema, which validate, make sure we change this to validation. These two have to match, of course. All right, so that's how you're gonna handle this. Now, I don't want you to have to watch me type everything out here, because that's gonna be pretty boring. So I'm just gonna paste this rest of this validation in here. So this is what we're gonna have. We're gonna have a password. There's a max function here, so it has a max 20 characters. and it's also required, and that confirm password, and this will show that these have to match, and then a yup.string for name with at least less than 15 characters. Okay, so that is gonna be all we have for this. Now our values, we have to actually pass those in. So make sure if you had value here, make sure that's values. So we need to pass that into our variables, and that looks like we're not getting, well, no errors there. We'll see. This is a lot of typing to not have any errors for me. So let's go over to our component, actually take a look here. And we're having something here with this here. So we're having a yup error. Let's come back. All right, this is giving us an error. I don't know if we need this. So let's actually just go ahead and get rid of that there. Okay, so go ahead and save that. Now let's come over again. Okay, and we look like we are working well here. Now, let's maybe give this a try. So let's maybe bump this up so you can see a little bit better. Let's go. So you can see if I click away from the email, it actually gives us our email required, and that's that yup and Formik stuff, password. So let's come in here, and they're going to all do the same thing. So come in here in our email, let's just create something. So darwin@test.com. The name we're going to have here is Darwin. Our password is going to be password, and our confirm password is also going to be password. Now you can see we're actually showing here that is something we definitely do not want to do. So when we come into our field, it's because we come over here, we come down into our form here, and you can see for our confirm password and our password, we have not done our types correctly. So these should all be type of password, not otherwise we're going to be showing our text for our password, which is not what you want. Okay, so we come back here, you can see that that does that. Now before we have sign up here, let's inspect this and see what we're actually doing. So we want to be setting a token because that's what we're doing in our file. So come over here and go to application. I don't know if you can see this very well. So we're in our local host. There's nothing set here. And when we press sign up, we're hoping that this signs us up. So you can see the token comes in and we get redirected here. And these, I think, are just our test users from our user component. So that looks like it's working fantastic. Let's come over and do a little more work. So we also need a login component. Now we're just going to do that. We're just going to copy over this whole thing because it's going to be very similar. All right, so we got to create that. So let's create a new page, a new file, and we'll just call it login.tsx. And we can just paste this whole thing in here. And we want to change, we'll just go from the top and just change what we need to. So instead of sign up mutation, let's highlight all those here and get rid of that. And we're going to add a login underscore mutation. All right, that's good. And then here, anywhere we have that, we want to change that to, let's just go through them all and get rid of that and say lowercase login. Okay, and all we need for our login, we don't need this here, so we can get rid of that, and we don't need this down here. We don't need our names for that, so that's good. And we're gonna do the same thing as token back, so that's all fine. Now our login values, we can capitalize that, and all we need is the email password, so that's good. We need to capitalize this here. We need to do what? Login, that's actually good. Login values, capitalize that, get rid of these here. Basically just change everything to login that we need. Again, don't need name or confirm password. Get rid of those. That's good. What else we got? Initial values, that's all good. That's all good. Login, that's great. Local storage, we still want to do the same thing there. We're setting the local storage. And then we're still going to push to users, so that's all good. We don't need any of this. We only need, we don't need confirm password, so get rid of that. We do need password, but we don't need name. And yeah, so just email and password, that's good. Let's change this to login for our button. Okay, and again, this needs to be a login. So if we go ahead and save that, I think that might be good for us. So let's come back over to our app, and again, we will need to just copy down this route, and let's go log in and log in, auto import that. Okay, we go ahead and save, and let's come back over. All right, sorry about that there. It looks like my OBS just crashed real quick, but let's test this out here. So we got Darwin at test.com is what we signed up with earlier, and then we're just gonna go password for our password. And when we click login here, we wanna see our token show up, which will show that we are logged in. And we get redirected there, which is good, and our token shows up, which shows that we are logged in. So that is basically some authentication. In the next video, we're going to go over how we can do protected routes, basically. So if you are logged in, you'll only be able to see certain routes, and if you're not, maybe you'll go to the landing page or something like that. But yeah, we'll get to that in the next one. This one's going on quite long. But yeah, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.